You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today, we're about to get into our second edition of our weekend Cabral House Calls. Looking forward, as always, to answering our community's questions. And if for some reason this is your first time tuning in, what we do on the weekends is we really go through all the questions that have come in, specifically from stephencabral.com/Ask Cabral. There are people who ask them on Instagram and Facebook and other types of digital media, but really we can't gather all those together. So what we ask people to do is simply do this. If you have a question, if you ever have a question, you want it answered, you would like my recommendations, just go to stephencabral.com/Ask Cabral. It will probably be a couple weeks before we were able to answer your question on the show. But of course, I'm happy to do that and share my journey and share what I've learned along the way with you. And then I would say if it's a customer support question, meaning like, when is my order arriving or any of these things, just email support@stephencabral.com or email support@drcabraldetox.com with those specific questions, because these ones aren't looked at by us for at least a week or two after really they're entered in. And that's simply because we have a lot of names and questions in the queue ahead of time. And the most common question we get is, when will my order arrive? And that's typically 4 to 5 days after you place your order, Monday through Friday. Do not count the weekends as shipping, since we use the United States Postal Service, and they like to take the weekends off. So hopefully that gets you started. All right. Looking forward to today's questions. I do hope you tuned in yesterday. If you didn't, maybe you can put that on your to-do list, because we answered a lot of lab test-based questions. We answered greens questions, and we answered skin-based issue questions, some bio-individuality. So today, it's a little different, and that's why I always look forward to these questions. The reason is they're always different, and it's kind of like in my practice. I really rarely ever see the same exact person 2 times in a row, like back to back. It just doesn't happen now. A lot of the underlying root causes may be the same, but the symptoms manifest themselves in a variety of different ways and a variety of different issues. And that, of course, it comes out as the Cabral House Call as well. Like if you're wondering, who are the people that you work with? Well, you're hearing it. You're hearing it every single weekend on this show, all the different questions that come in. So, all right, let's get started. We always keep these house calls now under the ideally 25-minute mark, and I plan to do the same again today. All right, first question is from Angela. She writes in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I would like to start by thanking you for everything that you do. Your daily podcasts have changed my health and life in many ways, and a simple thank you just isn't enough. My question is regarding my ability to find balance. I have a very binge-like lifestyle. I can be dedicated to 21 days of only low glycemic foods while following the Dr. Cabral Detox meal plan. I will stay very active with balanced workout plan and many other nutrition tips and staples you have suggested. But then a holiday will come about, or I will find myself in a situation where I cannot stop eating deliciously poisonous foods and drinking beer. I was wondering if you have any tips or tricks you have used with clients before that help them finally achieve a balanced lifestyle. Are there any systematic approaches you use, like getting off of caffeine or any mindfulness hacks of some sort? Anything helps. Thank you." Okay, so my highest recommendation, Angela, is to simply try to go back to some of the Mindset and Motivation Mondays. I give a lot of tips there. But why don't I just share what works for myself and what ends up working for a lot of my long-term private clients? And that's that holidays will always come up. Weddings will always come up. Weekends out with friends will always come up. You have to start to begin to set up a set of rules for yourself that you essentially live by in your life. Like, for example, for myself, I have one night a week of just like a blowout meal, like a blowout cheat meal of whatever I want. And I don't even when I go out to that meal, typically it's out, sometimes it's in. I will say to myself, like, I just know I can have whatever I would like, but I don't purposely just gorge myself with whatever foods I would like, but I do allow myself to have a dessert. If I'm out with friends and I decide to have a drink, I'll typically have a drink, but like I've set up these rules for myself. So I don't do that 2 nights in a row. And I know the reason is this. I've just gone through it enough. Essentially, Angela, what I'm saying is when you go through this long enough, you realize like this just isn't worth it anymore. I was having this conversation, funny, yesterday. And I just said, eventually having cheat meals or drinks 2 nights in a row, the third day, I was just more inflamed. I was groggy. My sleep patterns were thrown off. I slept in later, which means then it was hard to get to bed earlier that night, which means then I didn't get my sleep and it wasn't as great on Sunday night. So then on Monday, I was struggling sleep-wise and energy-wise, and I didn't want that to be my life. I just decided that's not going to be my life. My life is going to be one of happiness. It's going to be one of healthiness. I'm going to be at my ideal body weight for pretty much the majority of the year, and that's how I'm going to live my life. That's what leads to happiness. These little one-off days and white nights and those types of things, that's not necessarily happiness, but since I have my body at a very strong, structured place. I mean, by structured, I don't even think of it anymore. It's just how I live my life. It allows me then to go out with friends and have a drink and have some cheat foods or whatever it might be. And then no big deal. I pick right up the next day. I'm back into doing my smoothie the next morning and I feel great. But, a few things are caffeine is certainly one of those things to eliminate if it is a leading cause of anxiety. Anyone that is a little bit more of a binge-like lifestyle, I would say, well, they just tend more towards a little bit more anxiety. And again, it kind of takes one to know one. And I, certainly was one of those people and can get there. So, but I'll be honest, Angela, what you're talking about is the human struggle in general. Like it's hard for me over the Christmas holidays, which I love Christmas. It's like my favorite holiday, just family and friends and holiday parties and good food. And like, it's very difficult to really not just cheat every day of the week because you could, but I'll do 2 cheats a week. And then they won't just be back-to-back days. So, I could go on and on about this, but I won't. But what I'll say is this. 2 things. The first one is listen to episode 403 of the Cabral Concept. StephenCabral.com/403. That teaches you how to wean off of caffeine. The second thing is start to come up with some no compromises in your life. Okay? So how many days a week are you going to drink alcohol? How many days a week are you going to have a cheat meal? Like, just come up with those cheats. For me, I don't eat dairy. That's basically the bottom line. I don't eat dairy. I'll eat gluten, but I won't eat dairy because dairy to me is no longer worth it. I don't get the GI distress, but what I get is the inflammation, more mucus buildup. I don't need that. Dairy to me, because I've just, again, it took probably 2 to 3 years to get off dairy completely for me, meaning because I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. There was all these things, but in the end, I found it wasn't worth it. So hopefully that helps and kind of maybe pushes you in the direction that you're looking to go. All right, Lauren's up next. Hi, Steve. Unfortunately, my grandma a few months ago was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Being that it is such a terrible cancer that is hard to detect, can you please recommend which blood tests or biomarkers my father, her son, should be getting? I really want him to go to a functional medicine doctor and get a variety of tests done, but I was hoping for some direction. He works a very stressful, non-stop job as a chef owner and is very thin as he never takes a break, even at times throughout the day. Now with my grandma's cancer and the history of cancer in the side of the family, I want to make sure I stay on top of his health and figure out what he should get tested for to see if he carries that gene mutation, etc. Lastly, where would one go for this kind of testing? We do live close to NYC. Thank you. Okay. So, Lauren, my first recommendation is this. Before you start to pay out of pocket for some very fancy lab tests, I want you to make sure that you go to StephenCabral.com/store and just click on the anti-aging tab. Under that anti-aging tab, it will say annual lab test. This lab test is actually ordered not through my company, but the whole point of my store is convenience. I try to just give you the things I do in my practice. When you click on the link that says male panel or female panel, it takes you to Life Extension. They have the best, most comprehensive blood panel to start with that you can just order on your own. They send the kit to you. You go to a local walk-in clinic or hospital to do a blood draw, or you have a phlebotomist come to you. Okay, so that's where to get started for that. Second, since your husband seems like a higher cortisol type and he's catabolic because he can't even keep weight on his body, my highest recommendation is to then run the adrenal hormone stress test. That will show you the level underlying. So again, these are underlying imbalances. These are predispositions that could then lead to potentially cancer or something like that. And then my third test would be to look into the genetic test. So the genetic testing, you would go to stephencabral.com/store. And again, click on the anti-aging tab. That anti-aging tab will, you'll be able to click on the link and read all about the genetic testing that we offer. Hands down, the best laboratory in the entire world is actually out of Australia. And they're amazing. 100-page report just on each individual. Again, like I like to say, 23andMe is fun. It's a fun place to get started, but it's not the real deal. If you want a full health genetic panel, this is what I recommend. And then it will show for different alleles, different inflammatory markers, MTHFR, COMT, everything. So it's absolutely fantastic. That's what I would do. And good luck to your grandma, and I absolutely wish you and your family the best. Priscilla is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I love listening to your podcast, and I feel like each one is something applicable to me. My question is, I already know I have parasites, but I'm 12 weeks pregnant and know some of the herbs typically used to get rid of them are not safe during pregnancy. Is there anything I can do while I'm pregnant? I appreciate your suggestions and guidance so much. Thank you. Okay, Priscilla. So I believe, this question definitely came in before I just did my couple big podcasts on pregnancy. So hopefully you checked that out. It was number 522, it was how to have a healthy, happy pregnancy. That's a great one to check out that I would do. And then I did a previous one at 516, the missing link between stress, infertility, and weight gain. That talked about pregnancy, a little bit in there too. Of course, we already know you are pregnant, you're doing well, great. Completely agree that you do not want to do a parasite protocol while pregnant, and you also don't want to do a parasite protocol while nursing. Okay. Very, very important because it can get in your bloodstream, get into your milk. It's more the die-off. I'm not worried about an actual parasite passing through, but I am worried about all the herbs and different things that could pass through. So what would I do? Well, I would simply do this. I would take the daily probiotic support while pregnant. You could just do 1 to 2 capsules of that first thing in the morning when you wake up, or as I do it, 1 in the morning upon waking, 1 before bed. Keep that gut populated with good bacteria. And again, parasites are a little different type of gut bug than the bacteria, but at least you're keeping your microbiome more balanced. And probably the strongest thing that I would do while pregnant, because I have used this before with women, is the probiotic called Clean Gut Probiotic, if you think that you have yeast or candida overgrowth along with the parasites. Now, the Clean Gut Probiotic, the only thing that changes between that and a very good high-potency probiotic is something called Saccharomyces boulardii. And the Saccharomyces boulardii will actually help boost secretory IgA, so good for the immune system, but also will help push out pathogenic yeast with that non-pathogenic yeast. So that's what I would recommend. Once you're done nursing, then you can get on your parasite protocol. All right. Gina is up next. I would like to do the Healthy Belly Parasite Cleanse Protocol and the Candida and Bacterial Complete Protocol. Can I do all of them at once, or do I need to start with Healthy Belly followed by Parasite Cleanse? And lastly, the Candida and Bacterial Complete Protocol. Thank you, Gina. Okay, so Gina, I did answer these all, I believe, on the last episode, which again, you would not have heard because your question came in before that. And that was on episode 515, How to Heal and Seal a Leaky Gut. But I just want to give you now I believe everyone should listen to the episode because it gives you the step by step, which foods, all those different things. But Gina, for you, you would do this. You would do the Parasite Cleanse Protocol first. That's 6 weeks. And then after that, you would go directly into the Candida and Bacterial Complete Protocol, which ends with Healthy Belly. So you get everything all in one. So really, to do it, to the maximum, this is what I would do, okay? I would do the Parasite Cleanse Protocol. Then I would do an intestinal cleanse, and that's on the stephencabral.com/store under supplements as well. The intestinal cleanse is so underutilized. It's amazing. It pulls off dead bacteria, parasites, all sorts of things off the colon. So I do that for the week in between, and then I would go right into the Candida and Bacterial Complete Protocol while doing your smoothie every morning for breakfast. You get all your minerals and vitamins and all that. Very simple, very straightforward. Parasite cleanse, intestinal cleanse, Candida Bacterial Protocol, end with the healthy gut support to seal up your gut wall. You are a new human being after that. I literally still do some candida bacterial-based work every single year, but twice a year, I use a bottle of the Healthy Gut Support to keep my gut wall nice and healed and sealed. So again, it's great for every human being alive, I mean, honestly, but especially those after they complete the Candida bacterial protocol, which we affectionately refer to now as the CBO protocol. All right, great question, Gina. Very, very smart question. Okay, let's see who's up next. It is Eva. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I'm studying holistic nutrition and your podcasts are very inspiring to me. My question is, my recent checkup showed I have a very high thyroglobulin antibody and a very high thyroperoxidase antibodies. Although my TSH, T3, and T4 are within normal ranges, in addition, my vitamin D and ferritin is low. I plan on starting supplements. And my neutrophils are low. So everyone does know what neutrophils are. Those are specific white blood cells that have to deal with your immune system. I also have inflammation, which manifests itself in the knuckles. Are they related? My doctor said they don't treat high thyroid antibodies since my thyroid hormones are normal. But I've been reading conflicting opinions. What do you suggest? My diet is fairly healthy. I don't eat meat or dairy, but I do eat gluten. Thank you so much, Dr. Ball. I will continue to listen to your podcast religiously, and it hasn't become a daily routine. Thank you, Eva. Great question. Here's the big thing. Within normal range for TSH, T3, and T4 aren't necessarily normal. So since you didn't let me know what your TSH is, I'll just tell you this. Optimal for TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone. That should be between 0.5 and 1.5 in an ideal world. 1.5 and 2 is acceptable. Up to 2.5, okay. After that, then the thyroid is not functioning optimally. Okay, so then you look at T4. Is it within range? And I don't mean like 1/10 of a point within range. I mean, is it really within range? Is it near that middle of the mark? Same with T3. I don't want it at the very bottom, 1/10 within range. I want it optimal. So you have to look at that. Okay. Let's say those are normal. Let's say TSH, T3, T4 are normal. Okay, here's the problem. When you have antibodies that elevated, you're going to end up with something like, well, if they haven't diagnosed Hashimoto's already, you're going to end up with something that works on a destructive mechanism to the thyroid. So I agree that you don't necessarily give thyroid hormone or you don't give more thyroid stimulating nutritional supplements or foods. What you have to do is you have to work on the immune system. Like, why is the immune system producing these antibodies? And then your doctor would typically say, oh, well, it's just genetic. And you'll say, okay, great. So everyone in my family has these genes, but why are these genes manifesting themselves? That's the question then, because it is a lifestyle or environment-based effect, which means it could be the gluten in your diet. That's certainly one thing. It could be gut-based intestinal permeability. It could be candida overgrowth. It could be bacterial overgrowth. It could be other food sensitivities that you don't know you have, like egg. So here's my recommendation. You ran your thyroid, you ran all those, great. You don't need to do it again with us. My recommendation, run a food sensitivity test, eat some gluten, eat some of the foods you want for a couple days before, then run your at-home food sensitivity test. And after that, you might want to run a heavy metal test, such as a hair tissue mineral analysis or something else. And the reason is this, that can stimulate the immune system as well. So those are my recommendations. And of course, you're looking at treating the immune system rather than your thyroid. So your doctor is not incorrect. It's just you can't not do anything. You actually have to do something. And my recommendation will most likely be to see what those lab reports say. You can run an organic acids test that will look for candida overgrowth. It will look for bacterial overgrowth. It will look for basically leaky gut in general. Again, that's my recommendation for you. Okay, one more question. We'll get into it right now. It's from Claudia. Claudia writes in, Dear Dr. Ball, thank you so much for your wonderful work to try to help folks in need like me. I was diagnosed with thyroiditis, Hashimoto's, 2014. Spend money that I don't have. I am an immigrant from Brazil and I'm a house cleaner. So I did follow and buy products from different folks that at this point are worthless to say names, even though you may all know them. I understand and have been very honest that we need to survive and use wellness and diseases for this purposes, but I can't afford it anymore. I heard you episode 515 about, I believe that says H. pylori bacteria, and I need help, a serious one. I can't sleep, losing my memory, work out, do yoga, eat clean, no dairy, no gluten, no sugar, and I gain and lose weight and a lot of fatigue. I take vitamins real life probiotics, magnesium, zinc, glucosamine, digestive enzymes, omega. I don't know what else I can do, and I don't get better. I agree with you about the bacteria. If you don't kill, won't get better. So do you think really anything can help me? Please answer me. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the work, not only for me, if we work together, but for others too. Okay, Claudia, thank you for writing in. I do appreciate that. And I appreciate all the hard work that you've already put into your own health. And I, no doubt, I mean, when you ask, do you think you can get better? Of course you can get better. Of course you can get better. Here's the thing. If you already have diagnosed Hashimoto's, we know that most likely there's a gut-based issue. So if you're going to run one lab, it's going to be the organic acids test. Okay. The organic acids test is going to show you the elevated candida, yeast, fungal markers. It's going to show you the bacterial markers. It's going to show you if you have elevated levels of C. diff. It will show your mitochondrial markers, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, byproduct, metabolite markers. It will look at detoxification. It will look at protein breakdown, fatty acids, ketones, B vitamins, vitamin C, biotin, coenzyme Q10, N-acetylcysteine, phosphorus. I've done this lab a couple times. So what I would say is this, is that will give you the results that you're looking for. However, let's say you can't afford that. I would simply do the daily smoothie, the daily nutritional support powder. You know, all the products you're taking are great. Why don't we just stop them for a moment? Digestive enzymes are great, so you can still do that. You can still do your omega if you wanted to, but just the daily nutritional support in the morning. Do the Candida protocol if you can't afford doing the organic acids test first. Get rid of all the other supplements. That will save you the same money. And then after that, because that includes getting rid of the H. pylori, because it has the healthy belly already in the Candida protocol. And then after that, you can do the healthy gut support to seal up your gut wall. Plus, you'll also get our complete shopping list, like our food guide, to help you start feeling better. And believe me, I empathize with you. I really do. And I wish I could literally and personally work with each and every single person one-on-one. But this is the best that we can do. You could lab test first, or you can go directly into the supplement protocol. And I'll tell you, if you come off the magnesium, the probiotics, the zinc, the glucosamine, and your multi, well, it's really not going to be any additional cost. For our protocols, it's like $3 a day. I mean, we honestly give it away at the most ridiculous price possible. I mean, that's $1 per supplement per day. I mean, there's no one else who does that. And I honestly, and the reason I did this is plain and simple. That Candida and bacterial protocol, you can do it whether you think you have gut problems or not, because it will just help clean up the gut and help rebuild it. But here's the thing. It is the single best thing that you can start with if you believe you have a gut-based issue, but you can't afford lab testing, you can't afford to do a lot of the other things. And so that's why I feel so comfortable, and also because of the phenomenal price that we give it away at. One caveat, highly, highly recommend that you do the daily nutritional support shake in the morning as your breakfast, and I'll tell you why. If not, you're not getting your multivitamin, you're not getting your minerals, you're not getting your enzymes, you're not getting your antioxidants, you're not getting your cofactors, you're not getting 20 grams or so of hypoallergenic vegan protein. So can't recommend that enough. Finish the whole protocol with what's called the healthy gut support that will seal up that gut wall. I mean, really, that's my answer for you. I can't wait to hear your success story. And I appreciate each and every one of you this week who wrote in. And I really do enjoy answering your questions. And one more thing, be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Motivation and Mindset Monday. I've got a great show planned for you in this entire week. I love the whole lineup. So looking forward to bringing you that as well. Hope you had a great weekend. Talk with you soon. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.